Hi, folks. This is Mountain Man coming to you from parts unknown. Ha ha ha. I hope you all are doing well. Well, I'm not really in a good mood because, as many of you may have noticed, my video from the other night was promptly removed. I'll put the thumbnail up temporarily and don't want to get myself in trouble, but there it is. There it is. It was taken down minutes after. Discuss a lot of other things that are going on, constantly going on. And I've got foreign judges in my thumbnail, which I did rather quickly, but I'll explain. Foreign-born judges, judges with foreign allegiances, other foreign elements with these judges, and many other people have been installed throughout our system in every way you can think of. But anyway, we're going to get into all that and what's happening with the Iran situation and events around the world and in our country. And what do? I play videos. Now, I played this young man, and he was cut off before he finished. And the video's been taken down. So what will I do? I'll play him again. All right? And that'll give everybody time to get in and get themselves a nice cup of coffee or a cold bruja or an adult beverage of their choice. And then we will be like butter and get on a roll.
I'm actually glad that Charlie Kirk was murdered, but probably not for the reason you think. I was at work when I first found out. A fellow employee had wandered up to me, cell phone in hand, and asked, even a moment's hesitation, responded, "Good! Fuck that Nazi white supremacist piece of shit!" I had never before witnessed such a perfectly blended expression of disgust, disappointment, sadness, and surprise, all through the window of another man's eyes. Although that look on his face now haunts me more and more with each passing day, at the time, it only made me distrustful and upset. But little did I know that the sentence which followed would end up becoming the most profoundly... Have you ever actually watched any of his debates? I decided to end the conversation immediately. This man was clearly a lost cause, one of those intellectually dishonest Kool-Aid drinking types who refuses to engage in good faith with any perspective which contradicts their outstandingly narrow and propagandized worldview. And by this man, I mean me. Because I hadn't actually watched any of his debates. I was basing literally every single thing I believe about a human being with thousands of hours worth of publicly available recordings of himself openly expressing his opinions on a small handful of out-of-context clips that had been curated for me by algorithms and media organizations being funded by the political opposition. I foamed at the mouth, right along with the rest of those rabid and bloodthirsty dogs, gleefully mocking those who had been saddened by his death and downplaying the atrocity of it all by suggesting that political violence is just an unfortunate yet necessary step toward our coveted socialist revolution, that is, until I began to notice a common thread. The exact same comment being repeated ad nauseum in nearly every single online space. Have you ever actually watched any of his debates? I didn't think much of it at first. Of course right-wingers are all regurgitating the exact same talking point. They're in a cult. They're brainwashed. It was an ordinary and boring morning on the day I found out that I am a monster. In that moment where my curiosity got the best of me and I decided to click on some random YouTube thumbnail of Charlie Kirk with his goofy and gummy smile in an attempt to reaffirm my preconceived biases. And it was an unusually stressful afternoon on that very same day when I spoke to my father for the first time in years, despite the fact that he had always loved and supported me unconditionally. And it was a never-ending sleepless night, coming to terms with the fact that literally every single thing I thought I hated about the right, the bigotry, stupidity, violence, vitriol, and narrow-mindedness, was actually just an outward projection of hatred toward my own self. Charlie Kirk is my hero. He opened my eyes to the cruel and manipulative nature of our political media, brought my family back together, and taught me how to love again. And to anyone who takes issue or offense with that, I'm going to do exactly what he would have done, and challenge you to answer a simple, honest, and straightforward question. Have you ever actually watched any of his debates?
Has Donald Trump called you for advice or talked to you at all? And first of all, you've given him some pretty good advice so far, if you have.
Yeah.
But has he called and talked to you? I would call you. I was
No, he hasn't.
Storm
gloves on.
Yes, sir.
I'm wondering what storm you're talking about.
They have unsuccessfully tried to take down the wrong person.
He's absolutely going to come back with full vengeance the next time around.
Now think about what 4 years of a retribution presidency might look like. Our Constitution really does give the president tremendous power to destroy. This will be something we could never have imagined.
Now the gloves are off.
Some of Trump's close political allies told him they are working on figuring out the identities of the FBI and DOJ staff and forming lists.
I will direct a completely overhauled DOJ to investigate every radical DA and AG in America for their illegal, racist enforcement of the law. The deep state is destroying our nation, but the tables must turn and we will quickly destroy the deep state. We know where the bodies are buried. There are a lot of people out there that have done some very, very evil things, very bad things, I would say treasonous things against our country. People that have done such harm to our country. I've been looking at them for a long time.
He could order the investigation and prosecution of individuals who he perceives as enemies.
Put them all in jail where they belong. You gotta get tough and smart, and you have to fight fire with fire. You can't allow this to go on. And I will be the one to clean it up. I am your retribution. We will take care of it. We will take care of it.
Hi, folks. Thank you for joining me tonight. I'm glad you all are here. And if you think about it, why don't you podge that thumbs up button? I would appreciate it. Ha, ha, ha. Todd, nice to see you. Sissy, Colette, nice to see you. Frank's here. All right. Kim's here. And let's go on down the line. Colette, Rebecca, nice to see you. Tammy, nice to see you. I might play that song next time. Who knows? Wayne's here. I know I'm getting a thumbs up now. Randy, all right, you're home for now. Good. That's good to hear, Randy. We were thinking about you, but they took my video down before I could, before you could hear it. Did you all notice my video got taken down? How many of you all noticed? It was within minutes after my broadcast. I got an email. And it's a story. But we got a lot to talk about. I might still be able to retrieve that video. I'm working on it. Pappy Two Bears. Nice to see you. All right. Let's see. If I miss anybody, and you know I certainly don't intend to miss anyone. And all my lurkers out there, hello and welcome aboard. And if you're not subscribed, why don't you go ahead and do that? Ha, ha, ha. And that way you'll know when I go live. So anyway, folks, yeah, right here, boom, boom. YouTube removed your content. Yeah, didn't follow community guidelines. Ain't that something? And for those of you who were not in when I put this up, this was the video I'm talking about. And I will try to be, I tried to put it up on Rumble and Kick yesterday, or yeah, here you go. Yesterday, boom, that's the one that got taken down. Get a good look at it, because that's the only place you'll see it for now. And anyway, I must not have put everything in I was supposed to for Rumble. It is extra steps you have to go through if you don't do it right now. I probably didn't. I played the video for 2 flipping hours yesterday trying to upload it, and thought it was uploaded to Rumble and Kick, and it only went up on Kick with no viewers. Well, 1 or 2, I don't know. And then I lost the video and then found out it did not go up on Rumble. So I was mad as a hornet. I'm still rather upset about it. and now I have to try to retrieve it some other way and post it on Rumble. And I have to tell my Rumble folks I was trying, but I apparently didn't try hard enough. Here's on Rumble what I found out yesterday. I click on my channel. Look what it does. Mountain Man Speaks. No videos found. But if you click on that blue M, all my videos show up. And that just started, to my knowledge, yesterday. I know I checked it at least 2 days ago, and it used to show that I had videos. Now you have to go through an extra step to get to my Rumble channel. So people who are following me on Rumble, please understand, there's problems. I hope they work them out. Or did I make somebody mad? I don't know. Very frustrating. Very frustrating. So anyway, we've got people being arrested left and right and left, up and down. We've got judges continuing to cause trouble, and some of them in very serious ways. I was going to say petty low court judges, but some of the things they're doing are not so petty. Some of the things they are doing are very petty. And we had the socialists run wild in New York. Who's this person? This is somebody that's going to have influence on American citizens in a major city in the United States of America. Who is this person? And what is the attraction to these people? I played that video of that young man talking about he repented. And by that, I mean he changed his point of view. That's what the word repent means, is to look at something another way. And I played it during that video that got taken down. And for some reason, it cut off. Right when he got to the point where he's saying, I made up with my father for the first time in years, he started tearing up. So with the video being taken down, that video went down too, and it never got a chance to play in its entirety. That's why I played it in its entirety. He said, my anger and everything I was throwing in the faces of Republicans was only a reflection of my own self. He said that in so many words. So why do people gravitate to somebody like this and run towards every free Palestine, save people that I don't even know halfway around the world, and bash my own country? Where do they get this stuff from? But anyway, here, this is what has a chance at being in power in a major U.S. city.
And so, and finding that, the system of capitalism, racism, and white supremacy, etc., and Islamophobia have all been used, to colonize lands, right, to take resources from other people. And so this is situation, right, with 9/11. And so a lot of times when people are asking us to respond about, attack, right, if you look back, historically, right, a lot of us come from lands that were colonized, lands where wars are being waged, right, and a lot of times because of U.S. policy or the policies in Europe. And so I find that we can connect over that, but then also that the idea that we have to apologize for a terror attack that a couple of people did, and then there is no apologies or reparations for genocides and for slavery, etc., is something that I kind of find reprehensible.
So just prattling off the regular crap about white supremacy, racism, oppression, Islamophobia, stolen. I didn't hear stolen land, but you probably did say it. But all this kind of garbage that's being pumped out in the schools. I don't know where this person was born or when they came to this country. But we're definitely dealing with an infiltration instead of an invasion. And we got to deal with it. How about this one here? It's another one in New York that won. Right here. Libs to TikTok put this up. A lot of people put this up. Look at this smarmy, arrogant. Here I am with my hands on my hip, and I am a brave and stunning woman who says, her hands were dirty and she didn't have napkins, so she turned around and wiped them on the American flag. Ha ha ha. Mom Dami backed Daraliza Avilia Chevalier. Must be Irish. Just won the Democrat primary for New York 13. This is what she had to say about the American flag. We're in serious trouble. I forgot to get napkins, so I just wiped my hands on the American flag behind me. Isn't that funny? So the Save America Act is front and center. We got to get that passed. Trump is making moves to do that. And also, we got a big court decision about expedited deportations, allowing that to continue. But man, we're mere months away from the election. Mere months. So we got to keep it up. We got to push harder and harder and harder. And I wish we were doing as well as Latin America. Tammy, how you doing? Yeah, I know. PIG, I agree. Sherry, nice to see you. Elva, nice to see you. Wanda, glad you're here. Darla. All right, who else? Mountains here, nice to see you. And who else? If I missed anybody, it's hard to remember. Hi, Brett. Who I shouted out and who I didn't. So anyway, I hope you all got to see my last broadcast that got taken down. And I will try to put it up on Rumble. And I may appeal it, but I don't know. What's the point? Anyway, I want to hear this one. Where's my headphones? I didn't listen to this video yet. It's Mike Lindell. He's talking. My last video, I covered a lot of stuff. I covered directly appointed officers. Do you all remember that? And I mentioned Mike Lindell's officer. Here's talking about Dominion Systems and the lawsuit against him. Let me see. I got my mic in. I want to hear what he has to say.
And now, yesterday, if you don't see it in the news, they did one article out there from Law and Crime. Dominion dropped the lawsuit against Mike Lindell and My Pillow. That was yesterday. So, and I just want everybody to know it doesn't mean anything that I'm going to stop fighting these voting machine companies. It was a nice gesture. But we're all in to get them, get rid of them, get to paper ballots hand counted. And here, I'm going to announce right now, it should be within the next half hour. We're going to be posting on Lindell TV, everybody. It's 800-page historical drop of the voting machine evidence. This has never been seen before. A lot of it we have bits and pieces were out there. This has been compiled over the last 5 years. This will be right here on Lindell TV. It'll be posted on it, and anyone that ever tells you then, Vanessa, that ever says, oh, there's no evidence. This is like a library. It's a historical library with 500 and some, articles and 100% evidence that back each thing up. This was actually part of this given to the president when he was told by, when he walked off that's reporter a few weeks ago, and he re-truthed it. So it's a very exciting day. We're going to tie in, all these.
All right. So, and I have to say, I guess Bill have to say it, dumb onion, folded with their was $1 billion lawsuit against Mike Lindell. Big news. They folded like a cheap chair. And he's going to drop all those pages of evidence against the company. And what do you think happened there? What do you think happened there? It's disclosure. It's transparency. It's D-class coming. We're watching it. We're watching it in real time. Here's what Donald Trump had to say after these election results in New York. Everybody hopping around. Why the hell they'd be happy about it, I got no damn idea.
Every election's important. We're doing very well. They want a lot of communists to come in. I'm saying it a little bit differently, but the people that they're pushing are communists, and this country is not going to have communists. Thank you very much.
No communists. And Trump is saying it like it is. I put socialists in my title with quote marks around it because they're not socialists. They're commies. They're commies, and it's time to start calling it that. And I can get in trouble. I just remembered for using that term right now, so I got to be careful because, the strange thing about it was my video got taken down, but I didn't even get a warning or a suspension, which is usually the case. And I'm knocking on wood that it stays that way. So please be careful in the chats. Anyway. Here's Sunny Host, and she's going to talk about how much she liked the fact that these socialists won in New York.
I think that New York is the nation's cultural and political capital, and that's just a fact. And I think the Democratic Socialists of America is a force to be reckoned with at this point.
Yes.
I really do believe that. You mentioned these other candidates that won, but you didn't mention Brad Lander, who ran on basically a Democratic Socialist.
Then the National Socialists in Germany, Adolf will be National Socialists, but they changed it to Democratic Socialists.
Platform. He ran on building more affordable housing, protecting reproductive rights, the fight to protect and stand up for the LGBTQ plus community, Medicare for all.
Who did he unseat, though? Who did he beat?
He beat another Democrat.
He beat Dan Goldman, who led the impeachment against Donald Trump.
Yes, but
you took out a sitting... Because he believes in Israel's right to exist, he lost his seat.
But because perhaps it's time for change. Perhaps it's time for change. The Democratic Party, for a very long time, has been searching for an identity. And I see a great parallel between, to your point about the right, I see a great parallel between the rise of the Tea Party in 2009 as a rebuttal, basically, to President Obama's policies and the financial crisis, and the Democratic Socialists of America's rise in 2016 in reaction to Donald Trump, in reaction to health care, in reaction to the loss of health care.
One thing I would say is I just read a fascinating...
See how easy it is? They're on the rise because... it's time for people to get free housing, free health care. We do it. And that's what people are starting to understand. You just do it. You just give everybody free stuff. Yay! Here they are. Simpletons. FCC probe into The View enters new phase as watchdog exposes jaw-dropping bias. Well, that was... So anyway, they're arguing the daytime show is not a legitimate news interview program, but a partisan political operation. Yes, does a disservice. And regular news programs, which what do we have as regular news? We don't have it. We don't have a free press. Again, J.D. Vance's appearance on The View drew program's highest ratings in a year. He discussed the newly released memoir and Trump administration policies was the most viewed episode. And, well, take a hint. Do you think the people that tuned in are going to watch J.D. Vance are going to tune into you clowns with what we just heard? Sonny Houston talking about, oh, we just give everything to everybody free. See how it works? People are fed up. You know, I was going to put this one up days ago, but I didn't. But now I am, because I got a problem with it. And, you know, we got to unify as a country. We got to unify, because it isn't about race. This woman said it's a time for white people to get reparations. Okay, it's a bold statement. And I've said before, I want my reparations. But hey, I want people who have done honest day's work, no matter what their color is, people who played by the so-called rules that were really just set up to screw us. I want them to get reparations. My parents, their parents, whether they're black or Mexican or whatever they are, versus the victimhood crowd and these liberal losers that have been sucking off the system. Yeah, that can play both ways. We need to do away with that Juneteenth holiday. It's divisive. It's acerbic. It exacerbates the division of race, and it is not about race. It's between the producers, honest workers, and the takers and demanders. There's one more thing about those creatures on The View. Joy Behar flips. What? Tells J.D. Vance to run for president. He received praise from an unlikely source after the longtime View co-host Joy Behar revealed she encouraged him to consider a future run for president. Well, Trump's going to be suing ABC News, and it's well-deserved. I've got some clips and stuff on that. I get to it, I'll play it. Here, this is what I had last week, too, about socialism right here. I had some people I know were Bernie bros that used to watch my channel. And I came out and said Bernie was just a nasty commie, a ne'er-do-well, a loudmouth who's lorded over all this fraud and theft for decades. And he has no respect from me. Here you go, Elon. He built things, and you see the pile of things he's built. Bernie, what'd he do? He complained about things. An expector, a demander, not accomplishing squat. Not accomplishing squat. I mean, anybody in a position of power could see this kind of rampant fraud that's been going on. And yeah, we had this big bust. What was it, $8 billion? $8 billion. I guess I'll start off with Kash Patel talking about it. And this press conference, let me see, was after the press release about these creatures. Are these the ones that got sentenced to, one of them did, 100 years? That one there, Benjamin Song, top row, third from the left. He got 100 years. Look at these people, destroyed their lives. Zachary, and the guy we watched at the very beginning of this video, if not for the grace of God, could be in this lineup. I bet you he would admit to that if Charlie Kirk hadn't opened his eyes and he got swept up with the wrong group, he could be right here with Autumn Hill, Savannah Bat, Megan Morris, Marcella Soto. Antifa terror sentenced to 100 years in prison over ICE detention center shooting. Benjamin Song, 100 years in federal prison. Buddy, they're going to make mincemeat out of him. Shooting a police officer in the neck last July 4th. Remember that, folks? And they're all accomplices. The hand of one, okay, is the hand of all in a conspiracy. It goes sideways, that's on you, buddy, and everybody involved. Anybody who plotted and planned, cosplayed like soldiers and thinking their life was a movie. It's gonna be one hell of a movie now. But anyway, where's that press release from Kash Patel? Oh wow, I'll go ahead and play the video and try to find it later. But anyway, here's Kash Patel talking about this Medicaid fraud. 2 weeks, just in the past 2 weeks. I think there's something big coming. Something big coming. Let justice flow like a river.
We have apprehended 2 of the most wanted fraudsters already. One of those individuals, Herbert Leon Kimball, was apprehended in the Philippines. He's an American citizen. He had been bilking, allegedly, the system against Medicaid for billions of dollars since 2014, $1.2 billion in telemedicine specifically alone. That individual was apprehended in the Philippines and transported back to the United States of America, where he will now face justice. This is the reach of the United States government. This is the reach of this team, the interagency and state and local partners focused on one mission and one mission alone: to combat fraud and make sure the American public's precious taxpayer dollars go where they're supposed to go, to the American people that need them the most, and not to these criminals who are stealing from us day in and day out. Those days are over, and this should showcase to the world the length that we will go as an interagency and as a task force to apprehend and arrest and bring to justice anyone who steals our dollars that are meant for our most vulnerable citizens. We're also going to ask what we did in Ohio a couple of weeks ago, and we'll circulate it on social media later. We're adding 2 more individuals to the most wanted fraudster list. I said then, and I've said it before, the American people in the world are our best sources of information. There is no such thing as bad information. So if you have any information on Khalid Sitari, who is wanted for a $547 million genetic testing scheme and we believe to be hiding in the United Arab Emirates, call 1-800-CALL-FBI, 1-800-CALL-FBI. Let us know. You saw what we did in just 2 weeks by apprehending 2 of the most wanted fraudsters. With your help, we will apprehend the rest of them. The last one is Emily Tai, who's also wanted in connection with the genetic testing scheme for allegedly stealing $90 million. And she was previously on an ankle monitor and fled, we believe, to Vietnam. So if the American public or anyone in the world has information on Emily Tai, please call 1-800-CALL-FBI. We need your information. We need your help, and you have now seen what we can collect.
Remember what I was saying about treaties? He said we're going to round them up anywhere in the world. And I talked about 11.4 treaties. But also, remember, Donna Adelson and her husband, they were going to flee into Vietnam because there was no extradition treaty. That doesn't mean you're safe. It doesn't mean that they will refuse to extradite. It just said they haven't done it. You can bet your bippy on that. So there's really nowhere safe for fugitives to run, especially with the new quantum systems coming in, tracking illicit money. Among other things.
Collectively do as an interagency under the Attorney General's brilliant leadership and the prioritization at the White House that fraud will not be tolerated, that fraud perpetrators will be apprehended not just across the United States of America, but from the 4 corners of the world. So we plead with you to give us any and all information that you have. And again, the only type of bad information is the one that we don't receive from you. So please call 1-800-CALL-FBI with any information on any of the fraudsters on our most wanted list. And this should be a clear message to the world that the FBI, along with our interagency partners, are not tolerating fraud anymore, and we will chase them down just like we chase down terrorists, narco-traffickers, gangbangers, and those that wish to do harm to our communities, because this type of harm is equally as harmful to our most vulnerable. Thank you. And I now turn it over to our brilliant partner, Dr. Oz.
All right, we're going to pull out. There was so much there, and you heard about that $89 million fraud scheme that one of the defendants that they picked up in the last 14 days was perpetrating. He allegedly used cardiovascular testing, faked knowing how to read those test results, and in the end, greenlit a situation. This is their case against this suspect. Greenlit a situation that said that a young player, was okay to go back and play the game he loved. He died on a basketball court just weeks after that fraudulent situation that used cardiovascular testing money for whatever purposes that he was doing, but he certainly was not able to read the scripts.
And those 63 results
So they said it was
that would have kept that young man alive. What an example.
They said it was the second largest bust. What was the first one? Anybody know what was the first one? We're going to have even larger busts than this. Let me see where I'm at now. Anyway, I see Stanton came in. How you doing, KNS Cleanup? Nice to see you. Miss Mendersu. Where's Miss? There she is. Nice to see you also. Max here. Oh, all right. Welcome aboard. All right. Nice to see you all. All right. Yeah, there's Dr. Oz. He's got that red power tie on. I said the other day, I said he always looks like he's getting ready to pop somebody in the nose. Anyway, here he is, Dr. Oz himself. What's her name? Harris Faulkner kind of talked over him, but here we go. Dr. Oz. This guy had a hangdown. You charging for a brain transplant? What's going on here?
Two really important ones. The first is, in the first quarter of last year, we revoked billing privileges for fraudsters of 1,006 providers. Pretty good result, we thought, at the time. This same period this year, the first quarter, we made 1,400 revocations. That's a 40% increase over last year. So 40% more revocations. We also have payment suspensions where we just don't pay the bill because we don't think it's legitimate. This is impressive. The first half of this year, we made 1,000 Medicare payment suspensions. 1,000. That's a lot of people. Nearly 800, by the way, from one state, California. For a similar period last year, we made 219 suspensions. So a fivefold, 500% increase in payment suspensions because we're using tools now that historically had been used marginally. Now, these efforts brand all kinds of new tools for Medicare and Medicaid. The fraud war room that has been put together is a purpose-built tool to identify, track, and neutralize bad actors, often from foreign countries, much more effectively than the old system. The formula is straightforward. The DOJ brings a prosecutorial firepower. Law enforcement brings investigative tools. CMS brings data, the analytics. We use administrative muscle to push things through, and we are closing loopholes that fraudsters have avoided and been exploiting for years. Those days are over. Fraudsters, your time is up. Now, speaking of fraudsters, I want to highlight an important case that drives home what everyone understands.
Ha ha, put some booms in there. He said out of 1,000 payments, 800 of them were from California. 80% of these suspect billings were out of California. And Gavin Newsom's crowd is circling the wagons to protect him. I'll show you that in a minute. But here's Bobby Kennedy. Bobby Kennedy. One of the Kennedys lost in this New York massacre. The Socialists massacred the Democrats. Yeah, Cole put it up there. Put my booms up for me. I put a link for Buy Me a Coffee. If anybody wants to help the channel out, I'll put my booms up because Mike and Bev helped out. Pow! And I do appreciate it. And Angela started off the week. Kaboom! So I really appreciate it. And Miss Mendersu, she's always dropping her Moabs when she comes in to buy me a coffee. And I appreciate everybody that helped out last week. Gary and Younger Gang and Robin and Wayne. So anyway, yeah, link in the description. Even if you want to just check the page out and see what it's all about. But anyway, here we go with Bobby Kennedy rounding up the fraudsters.
Medicare fraud, illegal kickbacks to obtain personal information of deceased Medicare beneficiaries. One of the ways that Colin and Dr. Oz have been chasing down hospice fraud, we've closed now 800 hospices in LA. And one of the ways that we've been able to detect that fraud is that in many of them, the patients never die. They live forever. That's not supposed to happen in hospices. And this particular owner was actually going out and purchasing names from coroners of dead patients and then billing us for those.
Make it appear that some of his patients
purchasing names from coroners. Coroners. They're involved too. How deep is this going to go? Man, I bet there's a lot of people sweating tonight.
Scheme. According to the indictment, the owner paid illegal kickbacks to obtain personal information of deceased Medicare beneficiaries. One of the ways that Colin and Dr. Oz have been chasing down hospice fraud, we've closed now 800 hospices in LA. And one of the ways that we've been able to detect that fraud is that in many of them, the patients never die. They live forever. That's not supposed to happen in hospices. And this particular owner was actually going out and purchasing names from coroners of dead patients and then billing us for those, making it appear that some of his...
What a bunch of ghouls. What a bunch of ghouls. Did you all watch Trump at the State Fair rally tonight? He did a flyover. Ha, ha, ha. Here's where I got my inspiration. Donald J. Trump put this up. Verse of the day, Amos 5:24. I'd rather have a King James version, but that's okay. Let justice roll on like a river. Righteousness like a never-failing stream. Ha, ha, ha. Look at all those booms in the chat. Jiminy crickets. Ha, ha, ha. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, I got my video taken down. I was so mad. Oh, goodness. But I think somebody did me a favor at YouTube. One night I'll explain that. I think somebody did me a favor. But anyway, yeah, I was talking about the Kennedys. And, you know, a lot of people, I've mentioned it before, and I know I made people mad. But remember, if you're going to push a narrative or believe in a narrative, look at the words you're saying, okay? And remember that the Kennedy family does not like Trump, not a damn one of them. They even threw rocks at their own Bobby Kennedy, who you just saw on the screen. Every one of them is against what Kennedy's doing, RFK Jr., and what Donald Trump is doing. Every one of them. So don't take anything from them as a good sign. I'm looking for this guy, Schlossberg. He's a Kennedy. Here he is, I think. Yeah, look at him here. And it's true. If you had the Kennedy connection, you were in like Flynn, especially in New York. Kennedy family scion, Jack Schlossberg, loses in New York City District Democrat primary. He's trying to get that Kennedy hair look. I think he's overdoing it a little much. But this was USA Today. Once upon a time, being a Kennedy was a sure route to success in Democrat politics, but not anymore. Not since the commies have taken over. And the hedonists and Canaanites and sodomites, despite his typical Kennedy hair and Ivy League pedigree. I've used that term pedigree, and I've been scolded for it but they're using it here, so I can use it too. Jack Schlossberg, the quirky grandson of President JFK, lost a congressional primary in New York's heavily Democratic 12th district. Ha ha. Goodbye. You have to be a stinker to some of the people you lost to. Is this the one? Was this 12th or 13th? This one here, the one that wiped their hands on the flag. Chevalier Mamdani Brack will defeat New York Representative Adriano Espelay. Man, that's all American, isn't it? So no, it must have been the 10th district, or I don't know what district. Anyway, so yeah, be careful of that. Just because they're a Kennedy. His mother, Caroline, is our American ambassador. Where at, Kim? To Canada? Well, she might be the only one then, if Trump appointed her somewhere or didn't remove her. She might be the only one we can work with. Here's Mamdani. He's praising this life. Here's what Citizen Free Press had to say about it. Mamdani publicly mourned journalist Ahmed Wisha. Ahmed Wisha was actually a sniper for an Islamic terrorist organization who took the lives of Americans. And here he is, mourning his hero, not ours.
Even an Al Jazeera journalist, Ahmed Wisha, was killed this past Saturday by an Israeli strike.
That's what I got in trouble for in my last video. They said it was a live streamer. Somebody held up it was a still shot of somebody holding a picture. Australia. Well, I guess she's harmless. You out of sight, out of mind. Out of sight, out of mind. But anyway, here. It's bad enough they ignored everything Tulsi Gabbard said about Dr. Fauci. Not one word in the mainstream media. And conspiracy in human history. Now, here's what she's got to say about Obama. Clip this and share it. Please do so. Because this is just the beginning. And just because the press isn't covering it doesn't mean it ain't going to come back in a big way. Bombshell.
The implications of this are frankly nothing short of historic. Over 100 documents that we released on Friday really detail and provide evidence of how this treasonous conspiracy was directed by President Obama just weeks before he was due to leave office, after President Trump had already gotten elected. This is not a Democrat or Republican issue. This is an issue that is so serious it should concern every single American, because it has to do with the integrity of our democratic republic. What we saw occur here, as the documents we released detailed, was that we had a sitting president of the United States and his cabinet and leadership team, quite frankly, who were not happy with the fact that President Trump had won the election, that the American people had chosen Donald J. Trump to be the next president commander-in-chief of the United States. And so they decided that they would do everything possible to try to undermine his ability to do what voters tasked President Trump to do. So creating this piece of manufactured intelligence that claims that Russia had helped Donald Trump get elected contradicted every other assessment that had been made previously in the months leading up to the election that said exactly the opposite, that Russia had neither the intent nor the capability to try to, quote unquote, hack the United States election for the presidency of the United States. So the effect of what President Obama and his senior national security team did was subvert the will of the American people, undermining our democratic republic, and enacting what would be essentially a years-long coup against President.
A years-long coup against President Trump. What he did was treason. It's that simple. It's that simple. And it's going to come back up. And nobody's covering it except Fox News, and all the liberals will refuse to listen to Fox News or listen to anything for that damn matter. This is what they listen to. Look at the smug look on her face. What do you think Joy Reid's going to talk about? Look at that. Can you imagine who would marry a woman like that? Because she's got that snide smile on her face, because what's being talked about is the typical offensive narrative.
Because in many ways, and with apology, my dear spicy white friends, because I know that my white brothers and sisters do love a 4th of July. It is Independence Day. Everybody's barbecuing. It's a thing. I can promise you, Black folks, we will take that day off. We will barbecue because we off. But Black people, that nobody Black I know is really excited about the 4th of July, because it is what Frederick Douglass said it is. It is the celebration of slaveholders who freed themselves from having to pay taxes to the crown for their slave empire. And that is what it is.
Frederick Douglass was a free man, okay? And I've talked about there were free Blacks in America before the Revolutionary War and after. And many of them ran and won state legislatures in southern states. Being a slave was not exclusively a Black experience. There were many other people who were in conditions. Get rid of Juneteenth. She's saying, "Oh, we're not excited about 4th of July. It's just for white people." It's a divisive thing. It needs to be gotten rid of. It's inaccurate. Here's another self-immolating liberal. She's crying about she couldn't take her kid to graduation, and she couldn't enjoy her own child's graduation because she was patrolling for ICE agents. She's trying to help these poor, oppressed, deadbeat immigrants that are coming in and bleeding. And she's suffering because she's got to go out and look for ICE agents.
I'm at a middle school graduation, Portland. I'm not even going to mention which one. And instead of being inside, I am outside doing a lap around the parking lot, making sure that there are no ICE vehicles around. Because if you think about the people who are inside taking risks to see their children graduate 8th grade, and they're scared to be in there, and the people who didn't even come. So I'm doing my best to make sure that people are safe.
Well, she's got a kid. She must have turned somebody on, but probably a long time ago. Where's your husband at? Who knows? Probably happily existing under a tree somewhere, away from that thing. But anyway, you see how they do. They're victims. Everything, they can't enjoy nothing. They got to constantly be on the lookout against big, bad Donald Trump. What's this report here? I copied it. I got to see what it is. Pulte, Pulte. He's a temporary, right? He's in the DNI as a temporary position. I got it somewhere in my studio where Jack Posobiec and Donald Trump were both saying, what does Mark Warner, why is he so afraid of Pulte being in the DNI? But here's the story. He's firing people right and left, which has already gone all the way up to the Supreme Court about the authority to fire. Okay, so nobody can stop him. And he's going to nominate a full-time, a regular DNI. But until then, Pulte is the interim. So anyway, here's a report on what's going on in these firings. And I'm sure subversive, okay, and maybe facing charges in the future for their actions during the operation to remove Trump, namely Russia, among other things.
Bill Pulte, the acting director of national intelligence, had promised to make hundreds of cuts, and this morning sources tell us those firings are now underway. Now, it is not clear how many jobs are going to be affected, but sources say the National Counterterrorism Center is likely to be hit hard. Pulte, who just took over the role last week, today's actually his second full day on the job, is a Trump loyalist with zero intelligence experience. But the president has made clear he wants him to slash jobs at the agency, and Trump says he thinks Pulte is actually better able to make these cuts because he's in the role temporarily. Trump saying he's less shackled to do this. Now, Democrats and many Republicans have strongly opposed Pulte being in this role, even for the short term, and they've tried to prevent this. All of this and these cuts are sure to be a topic of conversation when the president meets tomorrow with Senate Republicans, Michael.
Yeah, the whole thing makes you shake your head, Mary. And we're also learning the Pentagon, they're asking for nearly $80 billion for the Iran war.
Yeah, Michael, the Pentagon is asking Congress for $80 billion to cover the cost of the war with Iran and other budget shortfalls. Lawmakers have been pressing the Trump administration to provide a more comprehensive price tag for this conflict. The last update from the administration had the cost of the war at $29 billion. Michael.
Oh, they had to stick that in there at the end. Oh, he cost us $80 billion for the Iran war. Not a word about the fraud that's being discovered and that we've been at war with Iran since 1979. Here you have Donald J. Trump posted this, and I talked about it. We've lived through it. We remember, we know. There's Donald J. Trump's moniker up top, so you know it from him. Since 1979, this is not new. And the only reason we're having to do what we're doing now is because of the deal Barack Hussein Obama made with the uranium.
1979, the clock's been ticking. Iran has killed Americans every year for 40 years.
Been killed. 180 attacks from Iran on Americans.
Past presidents appeased Iran.
$1.7 billion in cash to Iran.
Refused to enforce sanctions.
While Iran pursued nuclear weapons.
Could make 11 nuclear bombs.
Missiles that could soon reach the American homeland.
Imminent production of a nuclear weapon.
Too close for comfort.
When will Iran have a nuclear weapon? Never. Thank you, President Trump.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. President. We do appreciate it very much. Here's Trump in the Oval Office. I'll start doing Trump truths and posts that he put up and comments that I've got videos of.
Jeffrey's Schumer's backyard.
You told me in October that Schumer was gonzo and that Mamdani was the leader of the party. The last night's results affirmed that assessment. And
well, Schumer's lost his way. He's become essentially a Palestinian. I think it's the greatest transformation of a political position I've ever seen. Chuck Schumer, who was a strong supporter of Israel, and he's become 100% Palestinian. In fact, I've asked for a beautiful, beautiful silk outfit to be sent in the Palestinian tradition. I'm going to send it to him as a birthday present. Now, it's the greatest transformation of a political ideology I've ever seen. Chuck Schumer is Jewish, and he was a strong supporter of Israel. Not that strong, because he let the Obama, even though he was supposed to.
Ha ha, Chuck Schumer's gonzo. He'd become a Palestinian. He's become a Palestinian. Hi, Jerry. How you doing? You want to arrest Bibi? Well, worry about our own country. Quit worrying about Israel. Yeah, let Israel handle Israel and their issues there. So anyway, let's see what's going on. Where was I? Here we go. Trump said, I showed that picture of them walking out on J.D. Vance, and all CNN, ABC was saying the talks have collapsed. Well, the real story was the Iran delegation leaves for Tehran after 18 hours of intensive talks. Like I said, it was a photo op. They acted indignant. We're not going to shake hands with a war criminal. They went all the way to Switzerland for something. And there they talked for 18 hours. So the mainstream media was misrepresenting and lying. And after those talks, Trump said Iran has fully agreed to nuclear inspections. And what's so important about that, I'll tell you. I'll show you something. That clandestine put up about nuclear inspections. Hold on, let me find it. Don't rush off. Don't rush off. They can get a fingerprint from the nuclear dust, okay? Let me see if this is it. Let me see. This is Donald Trump's one of his truths. I'll get to it in a minute. I want to see some mugshots of people getting arrested for messing up the pool. Anyway, I want to ask some of the CNN reporters, you want ducks in your pool? Crapping in your pool? We're not allowed to put chlorine and stuff like every pool in the world. You want ducks to live there? You stupid. Anyway, inspectors, i.e., this is from Grok, posted by Clandestine, whose father worked. His father worked at top classified department of checking these nuclear weapons and going and securing them. Remember all that? IAEA, with possible U.S. involvement, would correct environmental samples, swipe surfaces, analyze debris from the bomb sites like Fordow, Natanz, or Isfahan, and examine any recovered uranium material. This isn't about verifying quantities. It's about tracing origins, history, and intent. How nuclear forensics work here. Isotopic analysis measures ratios. I'm not going to read all the numbers, but impurities and other signatures. This reveals enrichment levels, reactor type if reprocessed, and production timeline. Particle morphology and traces. Microscopic particles in, quote, dust or swipes can show processing methods, contamination history, and even the original ore source. Geographic fingerprinting via rare earth elements or lead isotopes. it can point back to specific mines or suppliers. So yeah, that's going to be the next big one, is finding out where that uranium came from, who gave it to Iran. And then we're going to see. Do you know what hit the fan? Anyway, 6 people have been arrested and 7 people have been cited for the damage they did to our country's now beautiful republic. Made by a very sharp knife or razors is actually numerous slashes over a very long 350-foot length. It was purposefully and criminally done, and somebody had to work very hard, probably in the dark of night, to create such a condition. Likewise, the small area at the bottom of the pool was cut, leaving very jagged and uneven edges. The large areas of grass are being replaced, where they put the 8647, remember that? In any event, even prior to fixing those areas, the reflecting pool is as beautiful as can be. We will drain some of the water, either immediately before or after the 4th of July, to do the permanent repair. President Donald J. Trump. And he put up a picture, pictures he took or he had taken, how it looks today. So yeah, you jerks that are going to end up in jail. And he said cited probably that girl we watched. Trump put this up. These pictures were taken this morning. Yeah, they're going to pay stiff fines, I'm sure, if they're cited. But the ones who get caught for doing the real heavy damage, I hope the prison time is worth it, because you're not going to run over Donald Trump like that. He's coming back every time. They ripped up all that grass and put down all new sod. Oh, Miss Mindersu, is anybody else got buffering going on? Miss Mindersu, she's having trouble hearing me. Let me see. Kim says she can hear me. Elva says she can hear me. Ha ha ha. Where's Jerry at? Jerry, can you hear me? Who else just came in? Are you losing signal? Or what? Anyway, here. The Americas. Oh gosh, I gotta get that video for you all. I gotta go out of the studio to get it. Trump scores 8 triumphs in 7 years across Latin America. The election of conservative firebrand Alvaro de la Espriella as president of Colombia makes more than a political upset in one of Latin America's most important countries. But anyway, I wanted to show this to you all the other day. It's backwards from the way we do it. They have conservatives are the way Reagan was. It was Reagan blue the first time he won in 1980. And the Democrats were red. That's another psyop they did, was switch the colors. Remember me talking about that? So when you look at red, it's conservative. Blue is commie, okay? The Secretary Rubio effect. This is from Anna Paulina Luna. Once he cut off the corrupt U.S. aid slush funds, look what happened. Look what happened. Reagan blue all the way down the coast. And you see the one holdout, Lula in Brazil. And a couple other countries sprinkled up there. We'll get to them. And we'll get to Brazil too. So anyway, yeah. We're reclaiming Latin America for democracies. And I have been wanting to play this. Let me make sure I got it. Because remember who I talked about, especially with Uranium One? I'm taking a chance again if this video disappears. I talk about, who was I talking about besides Hillary Clinton? Do you all remember? Put it in the chats if you remember who I was talking about, because I'm getting ready to put them up on the screen. Todd says 5 out of 5. Ha ha. All right, no guesses. I know it's a 20-second drag. Anyway, somebody who doctrine is dead, and he got a bunch of applause. Well, here he is. Getting in some trouble unless he's given material assistance in bringing down this cabal. You're going to see this guy get in big trouble. We got pictures of him, video of him meeting with Soleimani and other Iranians while Trump was president. Not only that, celebrating communist takeover of Latin America.
In the early days of our republic, the United States made a choice about its relationship with Latin America. President James Monroe, who was also a former Secretary of State, declared that the United States would unilaterally and as a matter of fact act as the protector of the region. The doctrine that bears his name asserted our authority to step in and oppose the influence of European powers in Latin America. And throughout our nation's history, successive presidents have reinforced that doctrine and made a similar choice. Today, however, we have made a different choice. The era of the Monroe Doctrine is over. The relationship, that's worth applauding. It's not a bad thing.
They're all clapping for his claim that the era of the Monroe Doctrine is over. Well, you're wrong, because we got the Donroe Doctrine now, buddy. The Donroe Doctrine. I was talking about judges. And, man, time goes by. I'm sitting here looking at the clock. And petty rulings by judges. Let me get this one thing off the screen so we can go forward. So I'll get to that in a minute, but let me see some of these videos I got to play. What's this one about? Oh, New York primary elections. They're going to talk about the SAVE Act. Donald Trump posted this clip of Laura Ingraham. Trump is not going to sign any legislation or let anything go by until they pass the SAVE Act.
The president, you heard that magnificent speech he gave today. All that fire, all the ability and passion he brings up. That SAVE Act is what's going to save the Republican Party, and the Senate better get on the ball, or they'll be the ones who cost us the midterms.
Well, I think that's a great point. And Ben, the Pennsylvania audience, the Mack Truck Factory, went wild when the president talked about the SAVE Act. What is up with the Republicans in the Senate not getting this done? That's just absolutely ludicrous.
Republicans in the Senate do not want to get rid of the filibuster in order to pass the SAVE Act. And I think that they're quite honestly being delusional about the fact that as soon as Democrats have control again, they're going to get rid of the filibuster. We know this. Like, we know the way that this is going to play out. In the same way that we know that they're going to try to pack the Supreme Court, in the same way that we know that they're going to try to play the same games that they have been telegraphing for years now that they want to play with our representative democracy. So, look, if you want to try to have representative elections and have, an actual voter ID qualification, on the national level, look, I want to hold these people's feet to the fire. I disagree with a lot of these centrist Republicans who say, oh, no, we wouldn't even get to 50 votes anyway. I don't think that that's actually true. I actually think that if you voted on this, you would hear it in your ear from your constituents to the point where you would be able to actually pass
we're preserving.
it. Look, the president has his opinion, and I think that he's right about that.
So, we shall see. We shall see. I don't want to play this, but I'm going to anyway. Citizens Christians who are on public property trying to preach. And it's they're on the fringes of this pride event. And these inclusive, wonderful, what do you call them, liberal BIPOCs and ABC crowd people. I don't know how rough it gets, but they attack them. So let's see what happens.
You have shoved your way in here, you're not welcome. You're not welcome. You better let go of her. Sir, let go of her. You're not welcome. You're not welcome. You're a private event. Get out of my face, sir. Make yourself
Susie,
around
no,
you.
stay back.
Stay
back.
Sorry.
Okay, no fighting.
Relax. Stand up and relax.
Hey, if it's getting violent.
No, let go of him, let go of him.
Don't
Come on,
film, you stupid motherfucker. Hey.
Just see about that. Just see about that.
Don't interfere.
Call the ambulance. I'm okay. How are you? Hurt? Yes, sir. They threw me to the ground. They grabbed my arm. I probably got bruised my arm. They threw me to the ground, and I've got 2 metal cages in my neck.
Oh man, okay, I've got an ambulance coming to look for you. So what's going on today?
We just came to walk through the park. These guys stood in front of us. They grabbed my arms. I tried to kind of walk in my way through. They grabbed me and threw me to the ground. And I have it on video. No, sir. Just walking
You realize it's a closed event, right?
But it's open to the public.
You have a ticket?
Yes, sir, I do.
What time does that ticket say on it?
I'm not sure.
It says 11 o'clock.
True, but it's free open to the public.
It's a park and it's a closed event. Do you have your ID on you?
I do.
Only uniforms like glitter. Do you have any weapons or anything like that?
No, sir.
The great thing about it is it's negative. What hurts on you exactly? Glitter is negative and will only stick to positive. And you said you had what kind of glitter?
I have 2 metal cases in my neck.
Days and days and days. That means you're positive. So was your neck broken or something?
I got hit by a car and had surgery on my neck.
You can eat over in the old booth. Back there, those people will have glitter and get us marked with glitter. So everybody understands and sees today that we are community, we are one, and we are positive.
Right, but it's free.
Hang on a second.
Let's have
It's
a great
actually a
ride.
rented car. If somebody's in charge of it, purchase tickets to come, right? How much does the ticket cost?
Free.
It's a free, but you had a ticket.
Right, but it's free open event. And we only know this because we won a federal lawsuit, Davidson County in
I know
Tennessee.
all about those. So, I mean, that's what's
So
up
we're
to-
allowed in the park,
what I'm
and we
saying.
told them to call you, and if you told us to leave, we would have left. No problem.
Well, yeah, but
No, you were in the process of having
I don't know. I see what you're saying, Miss Bender. I didn't know what was going on either. I didn't pre-watch this. They said he got beat up by a bunch of alphabet people being attacked because he was wearing clothes that said things like Jesus is just all right with me. You know how that goes. So anyway, it sounds like they're celebrating because the cops are making him leave. They can slap him around, push him around, and all that stuff, and the cops just say, hey, you gotta go. How you doing, Luke? Yeah, okay. Well, be careful what you put in the chats, buddy. Don't get me in trouble. We all know they don't like us in the worst way. Foreign-born Congressman Shri Thanadar began ranting and raving about Trump after Loomer Unleashed asked him to condemn incoming Democrat member of Congress, Darlia Alvia Chevalier's calls for the people to wipe their dirty hands on the American flag. Let's see. Oh, is this that guy from India? We got to clean this Congress out. I mean, these people are running our country. There he is. When he should be mopping in front of the Slurpee machine at the 7-Eleven, or not even the country at all, really.
Hello, Congressman. I have a question for you.
Yeah.
So you have a new colleague coming in from New York, right? Darrell-Lisa Chevalier. She says that you should, quote unquote, wipe your dirty hands on the American flag like it's a napkin. Will you condemn that?
Well, Mr. Trump has said so many awful things, that is something that should concern you.
So you're not going to condemn your future colleague telling people to disparage the American flag? Why do you congressional Democrats hate America so much?
I love America. I'm an immigrant. This is a great country, and this is the greatest country on earth, and I'm so proud to be an American and be in America and representing Detroit and 13th Congressional District in the United States Congress.
Yeah, he loves America. He can't tell you what the Bill of Rights are. He doesn't know anything about the Constitution, but he's going to make our laws. You know, people were talking about I was doing a video about all those posts Trump put out. And the media, where they said, well, Trump put up something saying, we have it all. And I didn't find that truth from Trump. But I just put this one up because this is in 2025. The world would understand nothing can stop what's coming. This was posted by Trump. And you see what is in his left hand there. CUE plus. And I could go back and find more, but you all know he has been alluding to the 17th letter for a long time, and the media has been ignoring him for a long time. But that's just a reminder. What he did the other day wasn't the first time. Here we go with Donald J. Trump. Isn't strange? The Democrats are running a man in Texas who looks virtually identical to Alfred D. Newman of Mad Magazine fame. And in Georgia, they're running someone who looks like a twin to the late, great Pee Wee Herman. These two horrible political candidates. I don't know if there's a genetic tree, but it is certainly close. What do you think? In any event, Mike Collins of Georgia should easily beat Pee Wee, and Ken Paxton of Texas should easily beat Alfred E. Vote Republican and make America great again. So here's Alfred E. Newman, James Talarico, right? He Trump put these pictures up. Do you see a resemblance? They blacked out his tooth there. Yeah. So there's Trump again. I'm just trying to read the chat, so we're getting a biology lesson. But anyway, let's see what this is. Even though he tried unsuccessfully to prosecute me, and despite the fact he is a major slime ball, I feel sorry for former Congressman Dan Goldman. He is wandering aimlessly, together with the former husband of the great Kellyanne Conway, through a large field of Democrat communists, trying hard to find his way. A very sad finish for a man who has no clue and never did. Donald J. Trump. Conway, remember, he gave away $1 million to Sleepy Joe's campaign. $1 million. His children's inheritance is gone. And he came in fifth place. Wow, Mr. Kellyanne Conway, a Trump deranged loser at the highest level, is getting absolutely crushed in the primaries tonight. He'll end up with about 5% of the vote in a rather weak field of young and aggressive communists. No wonder his, quote, husband dumped him like a dog. In other words, Kellyanne was wearing the pants in the family. This is a truly unattractive person. I called him the Hobbit, both inside and out. Have a nice life, George. President Donald J. Trump. Have a nice life, you creep. What's this video about? Let me see. Oh. Here we go. A whistleblower from Kansas City Public School. Yeah, YouTube does have. This is where they got caught, admitting they're trying to go around federal regulations with I gotta watch my words, but dealing with Gans trender people, children. They want to encourage them to open up about their S3-actuality, right? So anyway, they're hiding stuff and they're rewording things to get around it.
A whistleblower from inside Kansas City, Kansas public schools has released a video showing multiple school officials discussing strategies for pushing woke policies and allowing secret gender transitions for students without parental consent.
Conversations, and we are more so doing them on a case-by-case basis and giving resources out on a case-by-case basis. So not stopping the work, just not making it so public. That's what we're doing now.
Everybody's kind of in the same garbled mess of figuring out where can we find the loopholes, where can we sneak things in, because I mean, our assessments are correct. You look at some of these lists of restricted language and it's like,
Recordings reveal school officials detailing how they changed their transgender policies to, quote, guidelines, which are not shared with parents or staff, all so they can hide woke practices from the public.
Just wanted to give you one more update on that transgender guideline, not a policy, that we do not have a transgender policy that you heard the last board meeting. We do have a guideline, and that guideline is an internal document that will not be shared out to the public. It won't even be shared to staff members. Angela, Dr. Stubblefield, Greg Goheen are kind of the gatekeepers. Lisa knows a little bit about it, or knows a lot about it as well, but this won't be something that we just start to put out there for the system.
There is also footage of school staff talking about how kids are coming out to them as gay, with staff members then painting the parents as bad guys, and then asking if students want to keep it secret from their own parents.
I've had a student come out to me in one way or another, and the cutest one was this last kid who came out to me, and he goes, "Dr. H, do you know what a homosexual is?" And I go, "Yes, I do." He goes, "I am one." And I was like, okay. And I go, do you feel safe at home? Who else have you told? He's like, you and, his best friend who was also in that class. And I go, are you going to be telling your parents anytime soon? And he's like, no, because his dad was a preacher.
This comes after the school's gender transition policies were exposed and the district was investigated by the Department of Education for Title IX violations. Kansas City, Kansas public schools is conspiring to violate federal laws, groom children, and hide crucial information about students from their parents. This school needs to be held accountable for their actions.
Well, it's real simple. When I was coming up, you talk to kids about sexual activity, and you got in big trouble. You don't talk to children about stuff like that. DEI and transgender stuff and homosexuality. That's what they're protecting and pushing. But here's a DEI person who got themselves in trouble. I thought this was a guy. And the person that posted this thought it was a guy, but it's not. This is somebody who walked up after the big game and dumped trash out on the street just to steal the trash can.
What are you doing? Yeah.
It so happens that's a woman. And they found out where she worked. Some corporate dreamt up garbage. She was in charge of DEI for some company or another. I got it in here somewhere. If I find it, I'll put it up. So, yeah, DEI people are going extinct. And they're losing their power. You know, they got money coming in, six figures. What do you think that person you just saw walking across the screen ever got accomplished or could do for a company to improve the bottom line? Nothing. And they're dead weight. But anyway, Mom Dommy's endorsements. Here's where they're. Socialists were rolling in. Look at her. That's the one on the end there, Miss Chevalier, who wiped her hands on the flag.
Fascinated by the Goldman-Lander primary. I agree with you. I think Dan's going to lose. I don't agree with much of anything he's done in Congress, but I'm surprised you sort of glossed over the main issue in this race, which is Israel. I mean, Dan Goldman is a congressman, and he's Jewish, and he went into a coffee shop this weekend in Brooklyn, and they said, you're not welcome here anymore. Brad Lander is out speaking in mosques, telling those people that he'd like to go align himself with Ilhan Omar and the rest of the squad. Dan Goldman's only sin, I guess, is that he thinks Israel has a right to exist. And for that, that has been the principal issue in this. And you've got the mayor of New York City, Mamdani, out saying about AIPAC and Jewish Americans who have participated in our politics that they are, quote, monsters. What is happening right now in New York City, the Democrat socialist takeover of the Democratic Party, should frighten not just Jewish Americans, but all Americans everywhere, because this is the direction the Democrats are headed nationally. Look what's happening in Michigan, and it is frightening. Throwing Democrat Jewish congressmen out of coffee shops in Brooklyn, New York, it's not 1930s Germany. This is the United States of America.
It's called eating their own. There's no loyalty. He could stick with the radical Democrats all he wants, but when the time comes, they'll sink one right in his back. Here's Alfred E. Newman. Alfred E. Newman, what's he got to say? What's he got to say?
Yeah, and that's, you know, I always think of myself as a Christian who hates Christianity,
yep.
Right? And like I always get drawn back into.
What sense does that make? He's a Christian who hates Christianity. How do you think that's going to fly in Texas? Here we go. Here's some Trump posted. Let's see here. 19 million barrels of oil flowed out of the Hormuz Strait yesterday, an all-time record. Oil prices are tumbling down, and the world is a much safer place. I told you that the average before all this started was 14 million a day. They shattered the record.
Hormuz Strait, we took in more oil yesterday than has ever gone through the strait. You probably see that we have an oil gusher. The strait is totally open. You know that. And we're negotiating. We'll see how that all goes. But we have two things. We have an open strait, and we have a country that will never have a nuclear weapon. Will never, ever have a nuclear weapon. So now I'd like to invite Michael Kratsios, Director of...
As I was saying a long time ago, I said, remember when Reagan came in office and gas went down to 99.9 cents a gallon? For like 10 years. That's where it was everywhere, 99.9 cents a gallon. Unless, of course, you were in California, some lunatic state like that. But anyway, and I said I wouldn't be surprised if when all this shakes out, we'd be at $1.99. $1.99. So Trump says it's going to go down to about $2.50 soon and maybe lower. So maybe I'll be right. I don't know. Yeah, that's an old term. That's an old term, eating their own. 72, that's right. Where's my... I had a picture of the... it was 72 something. I had a graph of it in here somewhere. Good gosh, here it is. It, could have changed since I took this screenshot. 72.69, Brent, last day financial. Going down, down, down. It's going to be down to the 60s. Yeah, Iran don't want no parts of this business. Let's see what this is here. Strait of Hormuz traffic. Right here we go. It's all about confidence, folks. Confidence. Going to do good.
19 million barrels. We're basically almost halfway back of the original shortage of world oil supply, which was about 20% out of 100 billion barrels a day, so $20 billion barrels a day. And look at, I just wanted, I guess I have to say it, this memo is non-binding. It's just a political document that opened up a conversation, okay? And whatever the IRGC people may or may not say, they're like Baghdad Bob during the Iraqi war, reminds me of that, because there's no bearing in any. They're saying, for example, the Strait of Hormuz is closed. All right, and we're having record transits right now. They can't. Women in the streets of Tehran are not wearing their hijabs, walking around in short skirts on motorcycles, saying things and singing songs. It's as though they've lost the morality play that they've tried to do. Trump has destroyed Iran's military, its industrial base, its economy. They're on their knees and they're suing for peace. And he's got a diplomatic initiative, and it's going to take a while. I agree with that. It's going to take quite a while. But I take it very, very seriously. And meanwhile, energy prices coming down, gasoline prices coming down, and any money that might go in the next 30 days to Iran, or 60 days, is going to pass through the U.S. Treasury's escrow account. In other words, we will control any money from Iranian
You're talking about
sales.
frozen funds.
Actually, oil sales first, and the frozen funds may come later. But it will go through a Treasury escrow account, which is aimed at purchasing American farm products, various commodities, and medical products to help the people in Iran. So I think, Trump is absolutely in control. There's so much hand-wringing going on here, probably for political reasons, but I think he's on the right track.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about a week or so ago, about the escrow account, Scott Bessent controlling the money through the Treasury. We're not giving them money. We're controlling the money. I mean, the people have to have some means to exist. We can't just destroy a civilization, the economy of a civilization. This happened to a Fox News reporter. Do anything about it. Seth Moulton gets testy when asked about Graham Plattner. I don't think anybody's going to do anything about it, but this is on camera, bigger than life. I don't care who Seth Moulton is, but somebody like this ought to face some consequences.
Do you endorse Graham Plattner in Maine?
Who are you? Who are you asking this question? You got to do a better job at hanging on to your phone, dude.
You need to learn how to hang on to your camera better, and he smacks it out of the guy's hand. He came at him in an aggressive way and put him in fear of harm. That's criminal. But I don't think Fox News will do anything about it. I don't think they'll do anything about it. What's this video here? Now we got another video here.
Combine the
there they are. There's all the creepos. There's all the creepos I talked about earlier in the video. Let's hear what they got to say.
defendants were sentenced to 450 years in federal prison for their roles in the July 2025 attack outside the detention center in Alvarado after a protest turned violent.
Hey, stop!
The group's leader, Benjamin Song, was sentenced to 100 years in prison. He was found guilty of attempted murder for shooting and injuring an officer.
He said 450 years between all of them, and Benjamin got 100. So I don't, some 20 years in there. Who knows? Who knows? But we won't have to worry about him for a while. Here we go. What's this guy's name? He talks to Trump on the phone a lot. Here we go. He's talking about the tolls in the Strait of Hormuz. You got CNN and ABC lying about that crap. Some anonymous source in Iran says, we're shutting down the strait. Remember that? That was like 3 days ago. The strait had not a bit. They can't stop us. They can't stop our jets. They can't stop none of it. Does CNN come out and do a correction or anything like that? No.
Yeah, hey guys, good morning. I just spoke with President Trump about the situation with Iran and the ongoing negotiations. There's been some back and forth as it relates to the issue of inspectors going into Iran to look at the country's nuclear sites. Now we have both President Trump, Vice President Vance, and the head of the IAEA saying that inspectors will be allowed to go into the country and look at these sites and identify where the highly enriched uranium is located. Here is what the Director General said earlier today.
This has been signed, has been agreed. Paragraph 8 of this Memorandum of Understanding says explicitly that the nuclear activities that are going to be carried out with regards to the nuclear material facilities and will be supervised by the IAEA in all letters.
While the timeline is unclear, President Trump says there is no rush getting these inspectors into the country, but told Fox News that U.S. inspectors will join the IAEA when they ultimately go into Iran to locate this highly enriched uranium that we know is buried deep underground. The president describing this as a mountain that collapsed on this material after those B-2 bombers targeted Iran during Operation Midnight Hammer. The president was asked about the Iranian denial yesterday, saying this.
They know they're wrong. They told us inside, and we have it down 100% inspections. And if they were right, I'd cancel the meetings right now.
Mr. President, when will those inspectors actually be on the ground?
At the appropriate time. At the appropriate time. There's no rush, but they'll be on the ground at the appropriate time.
Yeah, he said if they're lying, he'd cancel the talks right now. And what did I show you about the forensics they can do? The forensics they can do on that uranium to find out who did what, where did it come from, and that's what we want to know. I will put up one of the many rulings from a judge that we're going to have to cope with because I got it in my thumbnail. Appeals court deals biggest setback yet to Trump's DOJ's demands for confidential voter roll data. And there's worse rulings than this we'll go over probably tomorrow. A federal appeals court rejected demands by Justice Department that Michigan turn over non-public information, their voter rolls, all the dead people. So that's going to be fought in court, along with many other cases I'll go over probably tomorrow. Here's that beautiful flower. Here's a beautiful flower that got a trash can for herself. Remember that beautiful lady we saw? Linda Moynihan put it up. Scoop, woman who emptied Nick's trash can on the street, then stole it. Ha ha, fired from where? J.P. Morgan Chase was a DEI executive, a do-nothing job, getting six figures. Now she's got to waddle down to the nearest McDonald's to apply to put the fries in the bag. She'll probably say, I have a disability, I can't walk. I got a bad knee. That's what she'll say. I got a bad knee. That's the problem. Not that you're rotund. But anyway, folks, here's a video that was put up on True Social by TMZ. And isn't it a damn shame that we've got to fence off the reflecting pool from these rabid... What did that guy say at the beginning of my video? If you didn't get a chance to watch it, please watch it. It's a young man who Charlie Kirk converted from his grave. Rabid dog. And I was ashamed of myself. And he watched one of Charlie Kirk's debates, and he reconciled with his father and learned how to love again. Well, isn't it a shame that we can't trust people in our country not to destroy something that we all want to look good and honor our heroes of our nation, the reflecting pool, where Martin Luther King gave his speech. So anyway, folks, here they are putting a fence around the pool. I'm probably going to go live tomorrow night, right? So if you're subscribed, you'll know when I go live. I'm going to put a link in the chats for my Buy Me a Coffee page. And I want to thank everybody. Where'd my booms go? I want to thank oh gosh, my booms aren't working. I want to thank everybody who went to Buy Me a Coffee. It's much appreciated. Oh, there it is. There we go. Kaboom! Mike and Bev. Kaboom! Angela. And Wayne helping out and last week, wrapping last week up. And Miss Bender Sue for her Moabs, and Gary for his Moabs, and everybody else that stopped by Buy Me a Coffee. So watch for the link in the chats. And what do I always say? I say thank you for spending your precious time with me. And I hope you enjoy this little video. At least it's just showing you the state of the nation. So anyway, till we meet again, this is Mountain Man, over and out.